All right, welcome to the very first Watch Me Work session. In these sessions, what I'm gonna do is just kind of walk you through my thinking and how I approach this. Doesn't mean that it necessarily is what you need to do. I just wanted to share some of my ideas and experiences with you as you go through this. So in this module, we're talking about and working with the Impact Vision Workbook. And you should have already downloaded it now, or you actually have the hard copy. And again, this is something that I would strongly encourage you to do in hard copy. Get a pencil, go outside, get into a state where you're not, bothered by a screen, and you can have really free and clear thinking, because I want you to stretch. And it would actually be beneficial if you were to look at the bonus section in this module and go through Andy Seth's training on how to create an extraordinary vision, or how to create a high-def vision is what he calls it. That training is awesome. But I just want to quickly run through this. You go through here, it's pretty well documented. You shouldn't have any problems with this. The first step is what I call the 12-month future night. And the difference with this is, what I found, most people, when they go to write goals, they're always, goal setting is a projection into the future. And the challenge with that is, we all have these demons on our shoulders that are yakking in our ears all the time. And when we go to set future goals, our brains and these little demons on the shoulders, boy, they start, going really loud. And the problem is you say, okay, I want to achieve this goal, or I want to achieve this sales, number, whatever the goal is. And this is where these little demons start piping up. Well, you can't do that, or you don't have the resources to do that, or blah, 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 blah. Don't listen to them. The way around this is in this exercise called the 12-month future night. And what you're doing instead is you're placing yourself into, I always like Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, one of those nights, because, we're all really familiar with those scenarios. But you're placing yourself a year into the future, 12 months from now, and you're looking backwards. So instead of having to convince yourself that you can do something, you're putting yourself in the position of having already done it, and now you're just documenting it. And I've found that this really just gives you permission to dream bigger. I know in my own experience, I don't dream big enough, and I'm working on that. And I really think we all have unlimited capacity to produce, to be creative, to really change the world. And that's what we're talking about here. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to dream big. I don't want you to hold yourself back. I give you the instructions here in module 1, and then we have, just some space to write in here. And you might need some extra paper, but just go to town. Just start writing, all the different things that you did. And we include things in here like, what are some of the sales numbers that you achieved in your business? Are there any awards that you won? What does your company look like in terms of employees? Anything. And this is where you want to riff. This is all the stuff that you did over the past year, only you're in the future now looking backwards. And so we just want to keep this going. You can always edit it backwards and refine it down. But the end result is we want something to be about 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs, not much more than that. It has to be pretty succinct. So the next step, once we go through that, is we want to work on your vision. And this is where we want to just basically, now we're back in the present time. And if that previous exercise looking backwards was helpful, you may do it again, only just extend the time frame out 3 years. That's what we're talking about here, is 3 years into the future. This is the bigger vision. This is where we get into like the BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious goals, things like that. Where do you want to be? Do you want to have sold your business in 3 years? Do you want to be international? Do you want to have new products? Whatever it is, how does your business look? Who do you serve? And what do you do? These are kind of the questions that we want to answer in this section. Again, I have detailed everything out in here. And then you'll see I've also given my own example in here of what my vision for the company looks like. So the next section we want to get in is around your mission. And we've already talked a little bit about the mission. Your company mission is kind of like, these are the shorter term little objectives that help you achieve the bigger picture vision. So, I use the analogy of a war or a country going to war, and they have the vision of winning the war, and your missions are the little tactical, our mission is to take this beach, or our mission is to capture this, plant, or whatever the missions are. They're terrible analogies. I don't like war, but you get the idea. These are shorter term little rallying cries, goals, if you will, that you can put out in your company that give you the guide rails from which you can make decisions. If you're going forward and maybe your vision is to have, expanded product lines, but your mission for the next 12 months is to really focus on getting, say, your paid advertising working, maybe it's not time to bring in those new product ideas yet. And so the mission gives you the ability, if the number one mission is to make your paid advertising profitable, maybe you don't want the distraction of a new product in there. And only when you have these defined do you have the criteria or the guide rails in order to make those decisions. The next step is we're going to talk about your products. And again, at this level, we're thinking at the 3 and 5 year, whatever that time frame is you had at your vision level. But get in and just start detailing, what are your products? Do you have a lot of products? Do you have 1 or 2 products? What do they look like and who do you serve? You can see in here, for my example, you can see I've got several different products. I've thought them through. I know exactly what I want to work on. And I've put dates, you can see in here, what's going to happen in 2021, what's going to happen between 21 and 22, what products and services are going to happen, 2022 and beyond. You can see these in here, what I've included in my own product vision. So we continue down the path. We talk about your company values. And this is where I want to spend a couple of seconds talking about values. We work on these exercises. Most companies have these one-word values. My problem with having one-word values is that they're very similar to that old saying around, a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you have your values, your company values, and they're just single words, that's great. First of all, it's a great starting point, but the problem is everyone interprets what those words mean individually. If you don't tell people what the behaviors are that you expect from those words and those values, how those values show up in the world, probably why you're not going to see your values gaining a lot of traction within your company. So the exercise that I go through with a lot of my clients is you put the idea of the value out there. And I'll use my example here on thoughtfulness. All right. So I have this value of being thoughtful. And instead of me just trying to write my definition of what thoughtfulness is, what you do is you go find someone that you can talk to that's a really good listener. Think of your favorite, or think of that one person that just hears you and can listen really well. Because what I want you to do is you sit down, and step number 1 is you write the word out. Thoughtfulness, right? Where the right counter is going like crazy in this. And then the next thing you do is think over the last 4, 6, 8 weeks, and think of a person. Who is that person? It can be a person in real life. It can be an employee, or it can even be, a fictitious character in a book or a movie that you've seen. But when you think of that value for your company, an image of a person pops into your mind. I'm almost positive. Think about that person. And then, so step number 2 is think of the person that exemplifies this value for you. And then what I want you to do is the next step number 3 is think of the example of what this person did or a story where this value happened. And what I want you to do is, I don't want you to write anything. I want the person who you have listening with you, I want them to dictate and just take notes. And you just tell the story. What happened? What did this person do that was thoughtful? In my own example, it was an individual who, the deadlines were high pressure deadlines. We had to get stuff done. Some other things were missed in a project. And rather than this person just ignoring the things that were missed, they were thoughtful on the consequences. Even though that this would make us miss the deadline, they were thoughtful of the larger picture consequences of leaving this out. And that's the value and the behavior that I really want in my company, is even if it means missing deadlines, being thoughtful about what you do and the impact and ramifications of that, that's the value. And so you just have your friend dictate, you dictate, and they take notes. And then all you do, the last step, is you just distill your notes down. And that way, you end up with a story for your values. So at this point, I hope that's helpful. What are your values? Sit down, go through this exercise, get your listening partner, and get them down on paper. So then we get into clients and customers. I want you to think through, who are your clients? Who are your customers? We're going to get really deep into this knowledge and experiences around who are your ideal customers in some following modules. But just for right now, who do you serve? I want you to sit down and write those out. Now, finally, we've got some optional enhancements to your vision here. Some of those might be, what's your vision around your financials? Or what are some of the important numbers that you want to track? Are there any, these are like your KPIs. Are there any KPIs that you want to track for your business? Do you say, I want to add, again, these are numbers. Do you want additional SKUs? Do you want to be in 4 different countries, 3 different languages? What are the numbers in your vision? And finally, you got, what are some media or awards? What sort of press are you generating? Do you want to be, I have a goal, I love the Inc. 5000 and even better, the Inc. 500. Do you want to be in there? What are the media and awards that you're going to have as your business grows? And finally, I think this one's often overlooked, but it's probably the one that you should do first. This is your exit, because no matter what, you're going to have an exit. Either you're going to sell your business, you're going to get hit by a bus and die, and your wife's going to inherit your business, or your family, or your partners, or something will happen. God forbid. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Or, your business might go out of business, or, in my case, this is my life. It's a lifestyle business, but I still need to think about, what does the exit look like? What does it look like 5-10 years from now, 3 to 5 years from now? Am I working all the time? In my particular case, I work for a 4x4 lifestyle, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. That's what I'm building to get to. So what does your exit look like? And then finally, the last part of this is kind of just your founder's message. This is the message from you, the founder, to anyone reading this document. And this is your heartfelt founder's message. My own, is part of who we are, is the idea of bringing more value into the world. The more people that we can help succeed, the more value we help create in the world. This is, in my mind, the first ripple, like a rock falling into the water. The second ripple is that I often see these nonprofits or social enterprises that have very unique potential to significantly improve the world. For instance, Charity Water, one of my favorite charities. Yet, almost all the time, these organizations, they really struggle with their marketing. And what we do is we help these organizations by requiring that each of our certified implementers, they go forth and they have to execute a marketing plan formula for the charity of their choice. And they have to fully complete the marketing plan formula, and they have to help execute it within these charities. And only then do they get certified to be an implementer for the marketing plan formula. Pretty cool, right? there's my giving back. And that's my second ripple in the world of how to make, we all help each other. So now you should be, well, if you're anything like me, you should be pretty damn excited, because when I did this, it felt so right to me. Like, it filled my heart. This was amazing stuff. And what you want to do now is, I've given you the instructions in another module, but basically have this edited. Spend a little bit of money, have a professional writer look at it. We have resources for writers in the module here, but make this into a living document. You want to share this with your employees. You want to share this with your vendors. You want to share this with the world, right? Like, this is your about page. Your About Us page on your website should be your vision. And the end result of this is, not only should this motivate the hell out of you and your employees and leave no questions around what kind of business you're creating, but this should also get you through the hard times. When I wake up in the morning and I'm struggling, I'm not quite sure what to do today that matters, or if I'm just having a bad day, I will go and pull out my vision and I will read it, and that jazzes me up and gets me back on track like nothing you've ever seen. In conclusion, I hope this Watch Me Work session was helpful for you. And I cannot wait to see and read your vision. That is why I'm doing this. I just want to read your vision and see what you're going to build. It's going to be amazing. So with that, that's a conclusion of this Watch Me Work lesson, and I will see you in the following modules. All right, thanks.